Welcome to another edition of What the Fuck Happenings here in Borg. Yeah, that's it. It's Borgs. No matter where you are, you're in a Borg. Yep, it's all a Borg. Borg being controlled by little tiny bits of shit. It's just a fact. Fact I can't convince too many people of. But, it's just the truth. So you should switch Borgs and just get with the truth Borg and realize, this is all bullshit. No matter what it is, it's even recognizing it's bullshit is bullshit, in a sense. Obviously, it's better to know you're in bullshit than to not know it, but you can't do anything about the bullshit unless you can get the other assholes to know they're in the wrong Borg, right? So it's this whole war thing. You can't get around it. It's just no way to resolve the argument with just evidence. Somehow you have to do something else. Sing and dance. Put on your Barney the dinosaur suit and try to seduce them by playing some flute or something. Anyway, you could just think of all the classical references to how you get the rats out of the city. Whatever. So anyway, I'm just playing this little bit of an... over there. Yeah, there it is. Just people think I've wasted my time on this physics stuff, but, frankly, it works. And that's going to get more and more demonstratable. This is a simulation of just very simple mechanics. 2 plus 2 plus 2 physics. Just two forces, two kinds of matter. Just simple rules for charge, reflection rules. It reflects or it doesn't reflect. It's that simple, and it's making atoms already. So forget it. It's game over. But anyway, it'll get better. So this is just a little taste of what it can do as a process. And once you have these kinds of arrangements, then you have complexity in the universe and blah blah blah, and you finally have dopey people who think they're doing something magical when no, they're just parasites. They're bacteria with brains. That's how the phrase I coined 10 years ago, and that's a bad description. It's a bad thing. Being a clever piece of shit, and that's what we are. And you can use all kinds of analogies. We're just animals and can sing and dance. That's the only thing that separates us from the other beasties, is that we can talk some funny words, and we can make funny gestures. But that's about it. We're barely dissimilar from a monkey going through its day. And, all this glorification, as if there's something magnificent to this whole horrible, awful dance. This pageant, this bad play we're part of. So, anyway. So, Draft Science on YouTube, draftphysics.com, whatever, physics part. So, somebody sent me this silly Buddhist link to a guy trying to be, whatever, not really succeeding. The view numbers aren't tremendous. Basically 74,000 subscribers, though. To a guy just desperately trying, right? I mean, he has all the little pieces, right? I have my little gold statue, and my white walls and my austere environment, as if, and then he'll talk about violating nature. If you commit suicide, you're violating nature. You're not living in nature. Guess what? Newsflash, asshole. You're violating it all over the place. Your desperate effort to fix your nature. And these Buddhists are so just so silly. The pretense of enlightenment. Like they found an answer somewhere, and their answer is just shut up and look stupid. That's their answer. Just shut up. whatever, lick a banana. Be a quiet monkey. Quiet monkey. Quiet monkey. Yes, good monkey. Good monkey is a quiet monkey. For sure. I mean, just so bad. So pitiful. That, these people walk around thinking, I got it. You got a big bag of Borg, asshole. Just a silly little trite philosophy that makes you compliant to the function of the machine. And that's it. You're just a bad cog in a bad set of gears doing bad things. Just perpetuating bad. You suck. So anyway, maybe I'll play some of it. Maybe I won't. See how I feel. What the hell was that little fucking piece of shit that popped on the screen? Anyway. So, so the themes were going to be robot. Okay. That's a good one. We're just mechanical. Just going through what we've been programmed to be. You're not in any way original. In any way, you could argue you're unique, but you're, as I've pointed out also in the past, it's a little bit redundant. But snowflakes are unique. So what? What do we do with snow? You get the fuck out of the way. It's crap. It's shit. Who cares about it? I'm a little unique snowflake. That kind of horse shit. Snowflake, right? That brings up the whole subject of the, people just spending all this energy, to say, accommodate me, in every way, and it just ruins the whole principle that some people need accommodation, and the ones who don't shouldn't be screaming for it, because it's kind of a pain in the ass. Being different is expensive. Having too many gears just makes a mess. The key words there were, okay, if you really need to, right? I mean, it's like, again, they just ruin it. It's like, well, the whole politics now is just ruined by the excesses of the right and the left. The people who just can't help saying nigger and fag and all that kind of crap to demonstrate they have free speech. They don't do free speech any good. They don't make it obvious how much we need free speech by pointing out when you give it to them that they can't do anything constructive with it. I mean, it's a bad argument. And, liberals fighting for the underdogs don't do the cause any good by defining everything on earth as an underdog and trying to say that somehow we can fix everybody's problems. When, no, we can't. That's why they're problems. It's because they're hard to fix, not easy to fix. And you have to do it the right way, not the wrong way. You don't fix it by feeding it. That's the whole starvation argument. If the starving people are going to make more people to starve, well, then you don't feed them. You just can't afford to. It doesn't make any sense to perpetuate the thing that is making the problem, making the mess. Don't feed the mess makers. Yeah, so that's sort of where it's going. So anyway, so it was robot, which is the same as saying Borg. You're just a version. It keeps telling me. So what? The video's still playing? Oh, okay, I know that. So maybe I'll turn it off then. Pain in the ass bastards. There, I turned it off. Okay, satisfied? Computer? Anyway. Yeah, so see, even just every reaction we have is just a form of some reflex. Just and there's whatever we have, 69 different, probably bad choice, 68 different varieties of different 69 varieties. They're just all in a package of these are the possible reactions, and for a lot of the stuff we do, it's just classic reactions. Everybody does it that way, and it's stupid and useless. And panic, we panic oh, we fret, do some kind of oh my God reaction, and it doesn't fix anything. It's just our typical way of ignoring the problem, or pretending to care. All these. This is the subject of suicide, and you can't even. Suicide doesn't even mean anything anymore, right? I mean, the president commits suicide, and everybody get over it in a day. Probably a bad time to say something like that, just because presidents are laughable now. I mean, who could possibly care for one? Oh, shit. They're so bad. So unadmirable. So unking-like. So yeah, it's as much as I hate monarchy. Ugh. Well, anyway. Yeah, don't even count that as a comment. I don't ever want to go back, but that's just as bad. But I'm just saying our democracy is almost as bad as a monarchy. Anyway, yeah, political. Fuck that. So, you're programmed. You've had a certain environmental enrichment in your life, and it's nothing better than having a specific piano teacher or something. Like if you had one piano teacher, they would specifically teach you in one specific way to specifically play piano in a certain way. And that's how you would play, and you could call it whatever, Laverian piano playing. It's a style, and that's what you would be, a Laverian. And that's all you are. You're just a byproduct of circumstances. And the circumstances were being written, billion years ago, or 2 billion years ago, or 500 million zillion years ago. It just doesn't matter, because the thing in control is a bunch of fucking electrons and protons. They're the things really deciding your fate, deciding who you are and where you're going to go and what you're going to do. The small universe is making you. You're not making the small universe. There's no you to do it. The you is all of that crap. And there's just no way to get around it. You can feel like you're doing something spontaneous. Oh, I just spontaneous thought of being spontaneous. But no, I mean, the cause and effect chain is unbreakable. Every bit of the words, every nuance, every he just lifted his eyebrow and made it crookedy. Every bit of that, okay, was already predictable, was already dictated by a chain of events. The fact that I am a certain kind of boulder, and over time certain other boulders will bounce off me and do this and that, but the ground underneath me is also eroding and blah blah blah, and eventually I'll roll down the hill, and it's just going to be a fact. I mean, there's boulders right now just sitting there, and the ground's eroding underneath them, and other stuff is bouncing off of them, birds are sitting on them and shitting, and it's all going to add up to, at some moment, the right moment, the ground will shake a little bit and the boulder will roll down the hill. And everything you're doing is just as mechanical. It's just as being decided by dirt. Being decided by the arrangement of a bunch of crap, for which, we can't see the details, but that's really not important, right? You don't need the details to understand the concept. That no matter what I'm advocating for, no matter what I'm arguing for, no matter what I'm saying, it's all a kind of Borg. And it's just a Borg of a certain kind of piano playing, a style of human. The style of human who takes their life seriously versus the style of human who takes nothing seriously. The style of human who's trying way too hard. That guy. Yeah, that guy over there. Trying way too hard to pretend to be a human. To pretend to understand their life. But he's just pretending. He's seeing what it looks like. Okay, this is how I have to dress. This is the game I have to play. But it's just a game. He's just reading the script for enlightened person, and pretending to behave as if he's gotten somewhere when now he's still full of shit. The gears in his brain are still turning mush. What's in it for me probably occurs to him now and then. Oh, my subscriber count isn't what it should be. Yeah. Oh, maybe I need whiter walls. My wall isn't white enough. I'm being too unnaturally natural, or maybe I'm too naturally natural, or it doesn't make any sense. So, I know there was some other words. I'm just trying to think of what they were. I mean, it wasn't just, robot, Borg, some other word. But it just has to do with expectations, I guess. It was some word that had something to do with addiction. That's one of the key concepts. So we're just kind of ironically ludicrous in the sense that we're programmed addicts. And that's all there is. There's just, you have a mechanism that tells you, I need to think souls exist, or I need to think I will exist forever, or I need to think something just like me will exist forever. Like that guy, he's just like me, right? If he exists forever, then I will be alive. Wait a minute, that doesn't really fit, because he's not in the same Borg at all. He's a whole different kind of gear, turning a whole different kind of mush. So it's not going to be like me at all. I mean, even that whole idea, again, it's this idea of imagining a world that has a bunch of people unlike you living in it, and then feeling really cool about that. Oh, it's really cool that the world nothing like me exists. I don't know how that gets people off, but it apparently does it works for some people, apparently. Wouldn't work for me personally. This piece of Borggie logic doesn't turn that into a reason to justify existence. So again, I could just point out how these Buddhist people are so silly, right? Because they don't have any solutions to a single problem except shut up and take it. Eat it. Okay, fuck you. You're not allowed to worry about it. You're not allowed to have a concern. You're just supposed to sit here with a stupid look on your face and say, it's okay. It's all going to work out just fine. Eventually, after I evolve into a bug and a slimy lizard, and I go through all these variations, and then eventually I'll be a cow, and I'll be really close to being perfect then, because I'll just be eating and shitting and just eating and shitting. So I'll be just as holy as I could possibly be, and then I'll go to cow heaven and just eat grass and poo forever. I mean, how can this make sense to people? It can't make sense. That's the problem. And I'm trying to communicate with people that just don't make any sense. Yeah. That's a big problem. You have to think about it, figure out how to answer. So I'll take a pause and think about it and come up with an answer. What do I do? I can't communicate with them if they don't understand any concepts at all, like stupid. They don't understand what a stupid thing is, and you don't do stupid stuff. That a cow's life kind of sucks. It's not something I just hope to be a cow someday. I don't want to be a cow. I gotta stop that from happening, really. If that's the plan, I really don't want to take that road to holy cowness. I just really want to do that now. Cows are pretty silly looking. I mean, come on. I mean, I know, oh, cow, it's funny, ha. But yeah, I don't think you want to be one. I mean, they piss on their own feet. Shit. So, I'll be back. Alright, seems to me I'm back. It's a little too complicated hitting the button. Anyway, so this is when I chose to hit the button. I didn't have anything to do with it, as far as I know. Just some sort of crap floated around in my brain. I had a few thoughts, contemplating what I would do if I had a matrix and blah blah blah, and I could control the weather and I could control everything. It's like the Matrix is sort of the movie. saw it again the other day, and uh, just for fun, and stupid, and just the premises of it. Obviously, it would be perfect to be in a matrix in the sense that the matrix can, your roof doesn't have to leak. The weather can always be perfect. I mean, so many of the unpleasantnesses of life can be eliminated. Certainly, all of your little miseries. Um, but what would be the real consequence of that is sort of the question. I mean, if we don't have this dull feeling, this I'm tired, I'm fatigued, I'm uncomfortable, then we have nothing to relieve. We don't have anything to extract, and isn't that sort of the nature of pleasure? Is to create tension, aggravations, things that make your eyes squint, and have those go away. You have a little sneeze moment, and the air is so much fresher, and everything's cleaner, and everything's all right. And that's what we're chasing. It's just that relief. So it's nature just puts just the right number of thorns in us, and we get to pull them out and go, that feels so much better. That's all we're really chasing, is the fun of pulling thorns out. And as long as we don't see the unpleasantness, in some direct way of the thorns going in, all of the little tensions, all of the little aggravations, the weight of the gravity, all of that, as long as we don't recognize all of the negative that went in, if the negative just dribbles in slowly, and then it can, fill up the negative cup, and then it can release the negative all at once. That's sort of, I would argue, the kind of mechanism that you're running on. That's what you're chasing. The dragon, the addiction, is sort of just made out of that syndrome of, just, leak the bad in little at a time, and then give you these little moments of cleansing, or whatever you want to call it, freedom from the burdens, release the tension, the spring, and let it bounce around a little bit and have its fun. And then do over, just rinse and repeat, and rinse and repeat. So even if you had a perfect world, you'd still have to leak the tension in. There'd have to be some aggravations placed upon you to give you this capacity to feel better. You'd have to be made to feel worse, in a sense, to be made to feel better. That's sort of the catch of the whole thing. But clearly it's a powerful mechanism. It works as a mechanism to keep people motivated, to keep them playing in the Borg. So the Borg is giving you something, so to speak, to play along. And throughout history, anybody who did try to have a conversation with people, a rational one, and say, what are you promoting really? Aren't you just promoting your own? Aren't you really just selling your own unsatisfied desires, your need to go pull out some more thorns, your need to chase some sort of sense of gratification, some sense of, well, if I can pull out this really big thorn, everything's going to be really great. You're just chasing some delusion, some dream that everything will be all right. That if you get a shiny new car or some other kind of bullshit, that everything will be just fine. When you know from past history that whenever you do fix a problem, new problems just show up. You're not liberated in any durable sense. It doesn't last. There's no happily ever after. That's just mush. You'll end up in divorce court eventually, and this and that, and all of that shit that can go wrong will go wrong, and you're not going to gain any immunity in any substantial sense from the burden of being a sensitive organism, and one that needs to want and needs to need or they don't do anything. They don't work. They don't survive. So, I don't know if that is a point I want to get to. Did I point out that this guy's silly looking? yeah. Anyway, so maybe we'll play some of it. There's probably no point. I have it sped up because, of course, he has to talk slowly and quietly because he's being meaningful and profound. So, I mean, the pretense of this bullshit.
And so it's disruptive. It's destabilizing.
Right, because it's unnatural. So, see, you're disrupting your karma by doing what the impulses, by obeying the impulses you have. That is, kill yourself, get the fuck out of here. Can't get much worse. I might as well start over. Right, I might as well go back to being a wildebeest or something because this sucks. So even if you believe this reincarnation hooey, this make it all up kind of thing, I would argue that yes, your destiny is conscious, okay? Because that's how we all get here, right? We all get here by going, oh shit, I'm conscious, I'm here. So it just occurs to you to be once you're being. So in a sense, as long as that's still happening, you're still happening in that sense. The awakening moment is sort of something we could say we all can share in terms of showing up here on Earth. So we kind of know that's how it works. You're going to show up here on Earth because that's going to continue to happen as long as you don't stop it. And so that's the only thing I have against suicide is just somebody's got to fight the war, and the war needs to be fought sooner rather than later. So hang around as long as you can to insult pro-lifers or laugh at them and mock them as silly fucking retards, and that try to find some way to make them understand they're part of an evil Borg and they need to join the not evil Borg. But anyway, they need to, frankly, take off the silly, uniform they're fighting in, with the swastikas on it, pro-life swastikas, and get real. You're not fighting for anything good. You're just fighting to perpetuate a Borg, where, again, you can know it's all programming. Anybody who's going to do anything is going to do it because of how they were raised and where they were raised and what they were exposed to. And of course their native condition has something to do with that, of course, but I mean it's still a mixture of the events. You can take something that's vulnerable and protect it, keep it in the cupboard so it doesn't get broken, or you can leave it out to get broken. So obviously even if it's a vulnerable thing, it's already damaged in some way. It's still the caretaker's responsibility, and we know the caretakers just have no capacity to understand what they're taking care of. So they're not going to take care of people, and they're not going to program them to be anything but douchebags pretending to, have it all under control. You have nothing under control. You're controlling nothing. You're making no constructive. You're not doing anything that's going to get the gears to make what we need it to make, which is horror and fear, and make people very apprehensive in understanding the implications of their actions. If they're going to do this, hold up these pro-life signs, that's going to have an implication, and the implication is you're going to be shooting these bombs. You're going to be putting these bombs into the future that will blow up and will cause suffering and pain and torture and all of that crap. And it's on you. You made the bomb. You made it happen. You were causing it by defending it. All right. That seems a reasonable enough statement. I mean, if you're defending it, you're causing it, aren't you? I mean, yeah. It's on you, assholes. You're going to be easy to point to as one of the causes to the effect. And yes, you're only one of them because you're part of this chain. And you can certainly argue, well, nobody gave me a good enough reason not to be an asshole. You know, you can sort of make that argument, but did that really is what happened? I mean, somebody like me tells you don't be an asshole. Okay, I mean, don't sell poison. Don't make people sick. You don't have a right to do it. Don't make animals cry. You know, don't do all this pain and suffering thing. Quit promoting it. Quit selling it. But I didn't say it straight enough to you. I didn't say it directly enough. You didn't take any of it seriously. You didn't sit there for a moment and roll the words around in your head and say, well, do I really want to do that? Do I really want to sell a ride, you know, a little amusement park ride that I know, okay, will cause suffering? And I'm just going to say, I don't really care about the victims, okay? The ones who get thrown off, I'm going to pretend they're okay, okay? That's an okay cost. That's an okay expense. Yes, some people will be mentally ill, some people will be jerks, some people will be this, some people will be that. There'll be chaos and nonsense, and it's okay with me. And we're not even, you know, I'm not even arguing with you about some sort of fairy tale, happily ever after place where people still get cancer. I mean, that's not the only liability here, that yes, some of the happily ever after people are going to get cancer and they're going to die miserably. I mean, I could just pick one little tiny piece of the bad that you're selling. But there's a whole lot more than just that bad that you're selling, that you're making inevitable. And you're saying it's all right. So it's not like it's just one kid in a million that flies off this ride that you're selling. You know, it's a lot more carnage than that. And you're saying it's okay because the ones who are still on the ride are going, yay, this is fun, I'm spinning around, yay, yay. I mean, they're not doing anything profound. They're not curing cancer or doing something interesting or great. They're just sitting there going, yay, 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 I have a good feeling. Somebody's rubbing my belly. Oh, yo, it's a good feeling. That's it. So you're killing, harming, torturing, tormenting, causing anguish and pain and suffering. For what? For, yay, I'm having fun. You know. And again, you can roll that in your head and somehow make it say, and still say, oh no, I gotta sell it, I gotta sell it. Pro-life, 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 pro-game, pro-Borg. Keep doing it. Keep doing the same shit over and over and over and over and over and over and over forever. Why are you selling it? What's your reasoning? Okay, time for a pause. Alright, back again. Yay. Maybe. Looks like I'm back. Alright, where was I? This guy's silly looking. You know, but why? Why is he the way he is, right? Why am I who I am? It's just a chain of events. Just occurrences through an existence. And you have certain things occur to you. You know, I'll recite it again, but, you know, the biggest moment in my life, I suppose, is when I did the first, when I observed the obvious, which is, oh, I'm influencing the world by what I do, and I can make people happy, or you know, it's just a fact, I can give them presents and make them happy, or I can not do that and leave them miserable, and I have this power. And then, you know, once realizing that, then I started thinking, well, how am I using my power? And then I realized that, like, every relationship I had with every person on earth was what's in it for me. I mean, I was basically just engineering the relationship to be suitable to my needs. And if I could evade having to feed them anything, you know, give them anything, that's sure as hell what I was going to do. And I said, gee, I'm a shithead. I suck. And I wasn't sure I could do anything about it, you know, but recognizing it was, oh, this is much worse than I thought, you know. I'm not only not very happy, you know, in terms of my life was kind of shitty. I had to work when I was a kid, and you know, and I hated school. It was like going to prison, and so my life was kind of miserable, and just was. And I hadn't figured out how to interact with women in any kind of sense where I, you know, felt confident I could bribe them out of their goodies. and I was very apprehensive about it because I'd already kind of also figured out that this is a dangerous game of commitment. You got to kind of make sure you're doing it right. Failure looks very unpleasant. So I was worried about that. Like, I don't want to be in love with somebody and then have them tell me, well, I don't really like you very much. I'm going home. And, I didn't think I could handle it, frankly. Because it meant too much. Blah, 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 blah. Love was just too powerful a feeling. But then again, I had another realization when I was sort of in love with somebody from afar for a very long time. And then all of a sudden somebody else showed up. And it was like, I saw my corruption. All of a sudden, oh, I can be in love with more than one person. And that's a little dangerous, isn't it? That's not a good thing. I mean, how do I work that out? And, and so then it occurred to me to just say, oh, life is way too stupid. So, alternatively, this kook had some other kind of experience where somehow it made sense to him, and somehow the game seemed to have some sort of rational rule where it didn't seem to have any rational rules at all. And then you'll just learn little things. You start hearing about how the system works, and you hear about Social Security or something, and then you think about it for a minute, and you say, well, that's very nice. They give more money to people when they're retired or a pension. And then I figured out, well, how does it get paid for? Oh, they take the money from the guy who died. Oh, that's what they do. Oh, okay. So the guy who dies of cancer at 58 gets totally screwed. So the other guy can win. That doesn't seem like the right way to solve the problem. Kick the dead people, for money. Kick the shit out of them. Kick their gold teeth out. It just doesn't seem like the right answer at all. The system made out of your gain is somebody else's pain, and that sort of sums it up. That you really can't have anything without taking it from somebody else. I mean, it even occurred to me as a kid, just sitting there thinking about it, how much I hated everybody else. But I still recognize that if I have somebody, if I fool somebody into loving me, that means I fuck somebody else over, because they're not going to get her. I'm going to get her. They're not going to get her. So their life is going to suck. And so that occurred to me, and I said, well, that sucks. Can't we just make more of this perfect woman and just get rid of all the ones that aren't perfect? Wouldn't that be much better? Then we can all have her. Those things occur to one as a solution, because you're desperate for us. You're saying there needs to be some way to fix this, because this really isn't the way I want to play. I don't want to play with the game because, a vampire game where I'm basically having to suck somebody else's blood to survive. But then you realize that's what nature is. Suck something else's blood to survive. And this asshole somehow is defending that. Now, why would he defend that? Why would he sit there and dress up in his little silly shit in his little white room and his little pretty this to sell an idea that we should all be vampires, and vampires is fun, and we should play the vampire game because we're somehow going to evolve, even though there's no evidence that the humans get smarter. There's no evidence of this enlightenment catching on in any way whatsoever. I don't see it reincarnating into some higher organism. I see you degrading in some sense, right? I mean, we're physically getting weaker and weaker because of our dependency on the technology. I mean, most of us, frankly, would find life most undurable if we had to go back 200 years and poo in little dishes and shit. Throw it on the street. I mean, if we had to live, with lice and, most of us would find it, the typical day, quite unbearable. No electricity, no running water, no hot shower, who wants to live that way? Who could live that way but a masochist, an insane masochist? So clearly enlightenment and, technological advantage if you want to make a correlation between the two, makes you weaker and weaker and weaker. It makes you less capable of enduring nature. So that doesn't logically make any sense. Why are you holding nature up as some sort of thing that should be telling you what you're doing or how you should live? And again, this Buddhist idiot wouldn't sit there and say, go with your natural impulses. You know, you're entitled, take. You feel like it, go ahead, rape. Well, they probably do defend that. I mean, he probably, keeps the little wife has to sit in the background and, do her little toil work for the project. Dust my wall, bitch. Yeah, sure. You're enlightened. I don't think so. So anyway, we'll play a little bit more of this mush. And then I'll give up. I have a bit of a headache, too.
And the result of both of these, the third factor, is that not only are you reborn again, but because of the weight...
Yes, I know, but being reborn again, how does that defend the proposition that you're in a lot of pain, you have no motivation, you're sick of being just something pulled by this and pulled by that and getting nowhere. You're just so tired of it. You got these sores on your feet and you're just saying keep walking. What is keep walking doing? What is it going to accomplish by waiting for my next incarnation? Why don't I just get them all over with? Why don't I just commit suicide at birth instantly over and over again? Isn't that just simpler? Less complicated? Why should I go through the motions that I'm getting somewhere when I'm really not going anywhere? Ugh, pathetic mush.
The way that you've left this world, the way that you left this life,
The way
you're much more likely to be reborn in a bad place, to be reborn...
Says you, right? Okay, so you're saying that if you leave this life, that there's some Buddhist truth somewhere, stated somewhere, that shows you're unenlightened and therefore you don't get to advance to the next level of whatever, gold plating. You're not going to get completely gold plated. It's stupid.
To continue on in a bad way, whatever comes to you.
Yeah, bad way what? So I mean, it's just so stupid. So just endure the cancer therapy and die anyway. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense, retard. Pointlessly endure more suffering for what purpose? You've already learned that you hate it. You're sick of it. You don't want to play, and you're just going to keep saying, well, the Buddhi, the grand Buddhi says you have to keep playing because he doesn't control anything anyway, because somehow the system says you have to keep playing, the magical system, the undefined God thingy says so. That's a good reason to do something, because an imaginary character that is a figment of your imagination should be a figment of my imagination, and I should believe he's going to make it worse for me. So the more I commit suicide, the more he'll punish me, and that'll make sense. The more reason he's going to give me to commit suicide again, and again, and again. Oh, that makes a ton of sense. Oh, wait, no, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Future is probably not going to be favorable. Why? Because you've spent time and energy cultivating your aversion and delusion, usually, because there's usually a belief that there's nothing else, so you create this view.
Delusion that there's nothing else. What's this something else? I go to nirvana somewhere, and what is that? They just polish my penis forever? Okay, fine. I don't think it was worth it. I wouldn't play the game again for that to be the end result. Pretty stupid. Pretty unaccomplished as an end.
That you've found closure and you've had enough and you're going into oblivion. There'll be nothing else. Which is...
No, you're just preventing an event. So it's only one event. Why have needless, pointless torture? Well, yes, that seems stupid. So let's just get rid of that event. I mean, let's clean up what we can clean up at least, right? So we're powerless to change the game. Okay, fine, Looney Tune. Why shouldn't we clean up whatever messes we can? And you're just saying, no, you should just sit here and keep enduring it because you can endure it. Okay? Because it smells all right to you, it should smell all right to everybody. You're some sort of magical, you have magical control. There's no misery I can give you. There's no tumor I can give you that'll drive you to a state of saying, well, this is pretty stupid. It'll never occur to you to say, this is stupid, or this is a waste. This is pretty pointless. I should just sit here and let a monkey bash my brains in with a hammer. I should do that. So there's a monkey bashing my brains in with a hammer, and your solution is, I like it. No, fuck you, stupid, silly person. You're a menace, okay, to human advancement, human knowledge, reality. You're a menace to it.
Kind of like being suddenly caught off guard because you think it's over, right? If you die thinking, oh, I don't have to fix anything, then everything, all the images that come when you die, your life flashing before your eyes, once the body ceases, and all the mental activity that continues, usually it's quite chaotic unless you've done some serious meditation.
Oh, how do you know that? So unless you've done serious meditation, you can't even die properly. You're going to get all confused when you're dying. Yeah, right, sure.
A lot of different things coming up. You won't be prepared for that. Like, wait, I thought it was over. What's this? Okay, wait, maybe alive now. Oh, it's not ending. What's going on? And it's quite overwhelming, right? Your rebirth you'll be very unprepared for your rebirth.
Oh, right, and as if we were all prepared. So again, this nonsense, gibberish, just made up crap. If I had some sense that I was rebirthed, right, that I was somewhere before I got here, there might be an argument here, but there's none. Where's the evidence of my rebirthing? I got here pretty fucking stupid, frankly. I didn't know shit. I had to figure it out by smelling it and then saying, oh, now I know shit. Yes, it smells. That's not good.
Because you've cultivated negativity, because you've violently sort of disrupted the flow of things. So that's the first thing I would say about suicide.
So they want to keep making it a violent act, all these fairy princesses. It's just so disgusting. It's a violent act because you interrupted something that was happening. It's always, yes, there's no non-violent way. I mean, if I just pull you by the shirt of your jacket when you're going 60 miles an hour, it can't help to be a violent act, okay, if I don't let go. There's no non-violent way. There's no non-real way to really stop something from happening. Yes, so you have to interject. But again, that's all over nature. Nature is full of it. The way Pompeii gets buried in ashes is through a violent act. But you're basically arguing that, well, if nature can do it, we can do it, can't we? I mean, aren't we expected to do what is natural? Well, violent acts are natural, asshole.
Fix the problem. It's not a very good solution.
Well, yeah, it's not a very good solution to clean up any dog do. Just leave it all on the street. So everybody can just keep stepping in it. Brilliant. Fuck you. It's stupid.
The second thing I would say, second two things, and many of you have heard me say this sort of thing before, but suicide is a prime example of engaging in the very perspective of trying to find solutions to problems.
Right, that's not your job. There's no point in having 100 billion neurons to analyze problems and solve them. So when you were solving all these other problems in your life, right, like the ones where you try not to catch yourself on fire and all the other things you have to do, put a jacket on because it's cold. So as you're solving problems throughout your whole life, your life as a subject is not anything you're allowed to solve. So, no, you're only allowed to solve little, tiny problems. You're not allowed to solve any big problems. So you leave all the big problems alone, so they keep happening over and over again. Oh, yeah, you're so enlightened. I mean, how did you get this fucking stupid? I mean, how could a person have any kind of, they go to the trouble to read some crap and to, blah, 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 and even contemplate the question of what is my life. and they come up with these silly answers that my life is, oh yeah, I should, puke to people a bunch of absolute mush and have them lick it up, to eat the garbage. The silly, there's no solutions bullshit. Yeah, I should make everybody just give up and be a little Borger like me and just sit here in this shit and just watch the shit happen over and over and over again.
Solutions to problems is not the teachings of the Buddha. Now, I'm giving my...
Right. So that's, yes. So now he's going to say, well, I'm giving you my interpretation of Buddha. So I've just slandered the fuck out of him, pretty much, because obviously he was contemplating problems with the objective of finding a solution. His whole point in having the adventure with death, where death tried to bribe him out of his ethics, the whole point of it was for him to find the truth. And in having the truth, he would have a tool, some weapon that he could fight with. So this argument that he just wanted to know for the sake of knowing, bullshit.
Understanding the Buddha's teaching, and you probably won't find the Buddha say it exactly like I say it, but based on my study of the Buddha's teaching, it's quite clear.
Yeah, so it's quite clear. He went through the whole process of getting enlightenment for no purpose. He just wanted to know, oh, it's a stupid system, and we all should be, but we should all just lie down and be subjected to nonsense. So that's all he wanted. He just wanted to know that it was okay. Suffering's okay, torture's okay, it's all okay. And that's what he came away with. That's his answer. Clearly, the answer was jump in a fire and die. It's just sort of ironic, because these type people, like these enlightened people, are the same ones who commit suicide. But it's okay to commit suicide because you're making a show of it. A show suicide is okay. But a suicide for the reason that you're just done, there's no food you want to eat. That's not okay. Ugh, disgusting.
Problems and solutions is part of the problem. Our perspective of things. This is a problem, I want to fix it, escape it, or hold on to it, find a way to fix it in place so it doesn't go away. All of this, trying to...
And even that, what a mushy way to describe problem solving. No, yes, you fix things. You can fix things so they won't kill people. That's a positive thing, right? They've gotten airplanes more and more advanced. They crash less and less. Is that a bad thing? They shouldn't have bothered? They shouldn't have wasted their time making it more efficient, more functional? You shouldn't try to make it more efficient and more functional? You should just eat it, tax it, waste it, waste the resources? It's another question, too. Here, the frank truth is there's a whole bunch of people who have to be medicated and cared for, and in other ways are expensive to keep alive. And what happens because of that is that other people starve to death on this planet and they die. They don't get enough vitamin A and they go blind. Lots of bad things are happening to people because they lack 15 cents. And you're just pretending that's okay. Well, that's not the fault of the people eating it all over somewhere else. Of course it is. So you have people who are miserable, who are horribly uncomfortable. It's bad enough they don't have the right to commit a graceful suicide. But even worse, you're for stopping them. You're for overtly incentivizing people to prevent them from dying and wasting resources. So little kids die somewhere else. Little souls don't get to advance. But that's okay. That to you makes sense. Destroying that karmatic voyage because it lacks 50 cents worth of medicine, that's okay. That murder, okay, that suicide is okay. But the one over here, because the person is in pain, that doesn't make any sense to you. And they're also sucking up resources that they can't make anything out of. They're eating the resources to make themselves miserable, to perpetuate a misery. And you think it makes sense that they should keep doing that. They should keep wasting a roof over their head to keep them miserable. You're an idiot. No, we already knew that, right? But, geez, you're a colossal idiot.
To make good or maintain good are based on reaction, are based on liking, disliking, are based on ego, me and mine.
Yeah, are based on our physical, biological nature. So the very thing, again, you said we're supposed to not violate is the very thing that creates all of those impulses. And you're saying all of those impulses are somehow not real things, when they're clearly real things. I mean, and you're just pretending you've risen above them to some place. And you're full of shit, and everybody knows you're full of shit. Okay, you still get a headache, you still get all these things, and you're just pretending that somehow it doesn't bother you. Bullshit. Liar. you know, somebody should catch him on fire.
This perspective, I almost want to say ontology, it's more than that. Our way of looking at the world, the way we see things, kind of an ontology. It's how what exists, problems and solutions, right?
I mean, how I see a torn rotator cuff in my shoulder has nothing to do with what it's doing. The fact that it's broken, that, my arm, oh, I can't do that. Yeah, that's just a fact, asshole. Oh, just amazing. Oh, yeah, it's a mind game. Your arthritis. Yeah, no, the fact that your joint has a bunch of gnarly bends in it and it's tearing flesh off of your other bone when it moves. No, that's an illusion in your head. No, it's real, you dumbass. I mean, he's just saying, oh, you people with no legs, you can still walk. It's in your head. No, it isn't.
Ontology deals with frameworks of existence, the way we understand things that exist. So a Buddhist ontology is not that there are problems and we have to fix them. So practically speaking, that's how most of us live. Everything is a problem and a solution. If suicide, there's a problem, I'm depressed, I'm in physical pain, or whatever. Physical pain, mental pain. It's usually one of the...
Right, and so you're offering the placebo answer, and they're saying, well, why don't I just fix it? Get the fuck out, end it, finish it, complete it, be done with it, stop it. And you're saying, do it the slowest way possible. Don't blow your brains out with a bullet. No, slowly stick a pencil through your head. Your solutions suck, idiot. All right, well, enough of this baby talk. Anyway, so again, like I said, there's a reason why he's saying this shit. There's life experience that turned this turd into this pile of turd. I mean, he wasn't just he's not a self-made turd. So it has something to do with this whole Borgs and these industries, and, the uniforms are shiny or some other kind of bullshit appeals to him in some circumstance, and he thinks he has an answer, and the answer is denial. Let's just pretend it didn't happen. Let's keep pretending it didn't happen. And just an overt denial of fact. So they're all just playing a game, a little internal trick game. How can I, magician tricks. If I orchestrate this just right, I can pretend. I can control how I react, and they'll think because I controlled how I react that I controlled the thing that was going to cause the reaction. And you didn't stop it. You just stopped it in the sense that you stopped your reaction. You didn't stop the action in your head. And you're selling this pantomime bullshit as a way of life, and it's a denial of life. And it's certainly not rational or reasonable or intelligent. So, I mean, clearly it's intelligent to understand hysterics aren't going to solve anything, so don't get hysterical. Try to keep a grip on your behavior, but there's nothing to be gained by denying what you're experiencing and denying the fact that it's too expensive, that it's waste, that it's a nonsense, and all this pretense. Like I said, your little yellow pine staircase to Buddha, and your little properly placed and orchestrated nonsense. Again, it solves nothing, it does nothing. Those are all little games you're playing with yourself. You need somehow. You need that somehow. Somehow, if you don't have a golden Buddha on the wall, you can't keep in mind, in the right state of mind. You know, you need your mantras and your pretense and your bullshit, your rituals, or you can't relate anymore. You can't own the idea in your own head. You know, you need the world to keep telling you what you are. Oh, I can't pretend to be a Buddhist unless I have all this crap that tells me I'm a Buddhist. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's just such crap. Just forget about it. Anyway, so it's all bullshit, and all there is statements that are accurate or inaccurate, statements of reality. So this guy says it's accurate to think there's some Buddha God thing that made the game, and you have to play the game by the stupid rules to advance, to become a cow, and then go to cow heaven, blah, 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 blah. That's his silly story. It's a silly story. It doesn't have anything to do with the truth. Truth is, we're just chemistry, little bits of chemistry, and the chemistry because it had time in the same kind of environment for a long time. The chemistry had time to get complicated, for one thing to jump on top of the other thing, and then, oh, I'll jump on top of him, and then I'll jump on top of him, and then they all squish into one big blob of a new kind of jello, and the new kind of jello goes out and makes more jello like it, and blah, 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 blah. It's just chemistry, and once the chemistry became reproductive, where it breaks into two, and the two copies end up being yin and yang. They end up capable of reforming their opposite, their twin, game on. And that molecule gets trapped inside of a membrane, and then that membrane gets trapped inside of another cell and another membrane, and you're off to the make a stupid device that survives game. And that's all this is. It's just devices that survive in a silly environment that rains a corrosive element to most things, rust to most things, it's sort of a joke in the aliens things that they have acid for blood. Well, we have a solvent for blood, a very aggressive solvent. We have like Mr. Clean for blood or something, however you want to look at it. Water. Anyway, and it's just all the facts add up, and we still have the salt water in our veins. I mean, we're still a sea creature, for fuck's sake, with a little shell around it. It's all it is. It's just the stupid frickin' Xeroxing machine thing, and this fake stupid competition of what thing ate who first, who raped who first, who did this first. They win, okay? They take over, they dominate for a period, like the dinosaurs. And so we're just another form of dinosaur that's going through its little ownership period and saying, oh, we're special. But the machine is just a machine. Get over yourselves. And this is all just bullshit. That's the refuse of 10,000 years of human advancement and idea advancement. And those ideas roll around in heads. And some of you people will spout things as statements of truth that have no value. They have no evidence. There's no logic to it. Your silly fabulous stories about why you exist and what your function is. The truth is that there is no objective except making organisms that survive, and there will be no objective there'll be no survival, so to speak, for any kind of other idea, in the sense that it won't exist as something you can inherit. So everything good, or anything really valuable, has to be separated from this inheritance thing. You can't just inherit it. It has to be separate. It has to be in some other code, except genetic code. And that's where ideas have to exist. And ideas exist in books and in the adventures that people have in their life and their storytelling. And most of you assholes are telling these silly stories about your your interactions with your fabulistic, Winnie the Pooh characters, where you went to Whoville, and you met Winnie the Pooh personally, and he's very good friends with Jack and the Beanstalk. I mean, you're just silly. You're not. There's no truth value. The truth is, we're just caught up in a Borg, in a biological Borg. We're just green slime that can sing and dance. We're just not, and the only thing of value is the fact that we can sit here and have a conversation about the truth under some sort of logical rules, rules of evidence, rules that you have to say something reasonable, and that it has to survive reasonable inspection, reasonable doubt, reasonable inspection. And your philosophy doesn't survive reasonable inspection. It has nothing to do with what we can see so obviously. So why are you playing this silly game and perpetuating this nonsense that there's something to be accomplished here, but to eat something else and consume its resources? Because that's what we're built to do, and that's all we're built to do. All right. Sad truth. Eat the weak. Eat the capable of being eaten. Take advantage wherever you can. I mean, that's all the function is. And the only thing that gets us out of that function is knowledge, is recognizing it's a bad function. The inherent design sucks. Don't make more of it. It can't possibly run a profit. It can only pull thorns out that it deliberately pushed in. You're willing the world to continue to suffer. You're shoving the thorns in. Right now, asshole. You're doing it. You're part of the fucking goddamn chain of events that will lead to it. You're just being a cog. And that's it. So stop it. It's stupid. Try to if the truth was elusive, then this might make some sense, but it's just really not elusive. It's just in your face all the time, and in every individual's life there is all this hardship and tragedy and stuff you can't make sense of. You can't make it go away, and to pretend you've accomplished that is ludicrous, and then to pretend it somehow because there's some God there, he fixed it. Just so stupid. All this waste perpetrated because you're pretending you have a truth, and it's just absolute mush, made up, just a made up story, a fairy story. Happily ever after. Who can that make sense to? How can that make sense to you? I mean, didn't after the fourth or fifth little story they told you where they said happily ever after, didn't you ever think for a minute and say, well, what does that mean? I mean, they really do get old and they get cancer and they die, right? So it's not happily ever after, right? I mean, that's just kind of silly. And if they have kids, they end up being autistic or alcoholics or wife beaters, or I mean, there's no happily ever after, right? I mean, that's just silly, isn't it? But that's what you're selling, a lie. You're not selling the truth, fuckers. All right, anyway, that's the video for the day, and such. So I guess I can just use the keyboard. Go over to the keyboard. So that's enough. That's what the billions of years of the universe doing its thing, that's the best it came up with, was this version of me saying that. So yes, you deserve better. But I'm not perfect. I'm not capable of orchestrating exactly what you need, the exact push, the exact jolt, the exact poke that you need, okay, to get real. I just can't make all of that happen for each one of you. Because unfortunately, every one of you needs to be poked in a different way. Some of you need a sledgehammer, you know. Some of you just need one of them little hammers, you know, ball peen hammer, little round end, and you just need a little tap right over there. You know, but each one of you needs something else to oblige you, you know, to get your pendulum to swing correctly. You know, whatever the metaphor would be. And I just can't, I mean, realistically, I just don't have the silver bullets. I don't have the thing that works on every vampire. You know, every one has to be killed with a certain special bullet designed just for them. And that's a complex problem. Now, you know, it's a skeleton key. There probably is a skeleton key of words that I could say that would be just so perfect that none of your idiotic brains could turn it into garbage. And it would work. And I haven't invented that yet. But I'll work on it. That really is the project here. Underlying my 10 years or whatever, 13 or whatever years here, that's sort of the underlying theme, is molding the perfect key. You know, the perfect hammer. No matter how I hit you or where I hit you or what I do, the hammer always works. It works on every single individual. Doesn't matter who they are. Doesn't matter what kind of ugly monster you are. This weapon will always convert you. Yeah, I mean, it's a tall order, but yeah, yeah, I can do it. Like one of them little trucks in the cartoon. Yeah, we can do it. No problem. So I'll do it. I'll just do it. Yeah, eventually. Just didn't do it today. So I'll concede that this video was not the perfect key. But maybe the next one will be. There is some hope. Alright? Theoretically, it could happen. Come on. A unified physics. How much harder can this be? Alright, anyway. Till next time. And such. Mostly.